Hi friends, in this video I'm going to show you how to make a small crochet case. It'll look something like this when it's finished. It's a good size to fit all of your crochet hooks, and I like this pattern because it uses the 4 most common crochet stitches. So it's a really good beginner project because it kind of reinforces the new skills that you just learned in crochet. So to do this case, you're going to need bulky or chunky yarn, so that's size 5 or 6. Excuse me, a crochet hook that either corresponds to the size recommended on the skein or a hook size of your choice. You'll definitely need scissors, and then a tapestry needle or any kind of needle that is blunt on the end, on the tip. And then as an option, we can add a button, so you'll need a button and the needle and thread. Okay, so this video is going to be done in 3 parts. The first part is doing the first 10 rows of the case, and then the second part will be the final rows, and then the third video will be constructing the case all together. So depending on what point you are in making your case, you can watch each video. Okay, to get started, let's find the center pole of our skein, or if you're using a cake already, oh my gosh, I got yarn vomit. Of course I did. Oh my goodness, my end is in here somewhere. Okay, here it is. That wasn't too bad, but hopefully that didn't make a big knot. All right, that's a problem for later me. Okay. So I'm also going to be using words and crochet skills that you should already know. So if you need a refresher on like slip knot, single crochets, you can watch my videos on how to do those. Otherwise, let's jump right in with making a slip knot on our crochet hook. And you can use my method of making a slip knot or another method, your choice. But go ahead and get that slip knot on your hook, and you can leave a tail. This probably isn't a long enough tail to do to construct the actual crochet case. If you want to leave a longer tail, awesome. Otherwise, a shorter tail is fine too. So we're going to start by chaining 19. And if you need a refresher on how to do chains, you can watch a video. Otherwise, go ahead and chain 19, and I'm going to skip ahead in the video. So if you need to pause to do your 19 chains, please do so, and I will see you on the other side. Okay, so I've chained 19, and for the first row, chains usually don't count as a row. The coming row is usually row 1 if you're following a pattern. We're going to be crocheting into the back bump of our chains. So when you look at the front of your chains, they look like the letter V stacked in a nice column. If you flip that over using your pincher fingers from your helper hand, you see these little bumps, these little humps on the back of the chains. That's where we're going to be putting our hook, under that bump. But we're going to skip the first chain from our hook. So this is the active chain, active loop, and then here's the first chain. So we're going to be working into the back bump of the second chain, and you can actually count the back bumps too. Here's the first bump that we're skipping. Here's the second bump where we're going to be putting our hook. So starting at the second back bump, you're going to insert your hook and you're going to do a single crochet. Notice that I use my pointer finger to sort of help get my hook into the back bump. Totally fine to do that. So let's finish our single crochet. That's a yarn over and pull through the bump, yarn over again and pull through. So that's our first stitch. We're going to do, let's see, 17 more single crochets all the way across into the back bump. And I'll do a few more together with you on video. And then I was going to skip ahead so you can pause. So you keep inserting your hook into that back bump. If you have looser chains, it's going to be easier to get your hook into them. If you have tighter chains or smaller yarn, you're gonna need to use your fingers to help out your hook a little bit. It's always a good idea to practice this first row. This is, it might be one of the more challenging rows to do in your project. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead in the video, so pause if you need to, and I will see you when you are done your first row of single crochets. So finish that up, great. That's the end of row 1. Now to start row 2, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work from right to left. I like to call that clockwise, but if it's easier to think of right to left, that's fine too. Okay, to start row 2, or to continue row 2, we're going to single crochet all the way across, starting at the first stitch. So if you look at the top of your work, this first V right below my hook is my chain, but I skip that always. And I'm going to be working under this V. That's my very first stitch. So that's where my hook goes. So insert your hook under the first stitch. You can see the V on top of my hook. And let's finish our single crochet. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And you're going to work single crochets all the way across to the other end. So I'll do a couple here, and then I'm going to skip ahead in the video so then you can pause, and I will see you on the other side. All right, so I have one more stitch to do. It's pretty clear that I have one more stitch because I have this bump out. And that last stitch is really easy to miss because it's usually diagonal, like it's not horizontal like your other stitches, it's diagonal, and then sometimes it's turned to the back a little bit, it's twisted. So you're going to use your pincher fingers to flip that bump out over. You're like, oh, yep, there's my stitch right there. It's that last V. If you're still learning like what actually these stitches look like, you don't feel totally confident in knowing what's a stitch, and if you have one more to do, just count your stitches. For this project, since we chained 19, but to do our foundation row, we skipped one chain, we're gonna have a total of 18 stitches. Every row is going to have 18 stitches from here on out. So we can always go and count our stitches, and that's each V is a stitch. So let's count real quick. Count yours while I count mine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Cool. So if you're ready to move on to row 3 and row 4 are just repeating row 2, which starts with chain 1, turn your work from right to left. And then you're going to single crochet all the way across. So what we're gonna do, I'm going to jump ahead in the video, and we're all going to do row 3 and row 4. So go ahead and single crochet 2 more rows, and I'll meet you right before we start row 5. All right, so we are finished with our 4 rows. And here's how we can tell that we're done with 4 rows. Single crochets is a little tougher to count rows than, say, double crochet, but there is a way. So if you see these little bumps, these little loops, I guess, that's row 1. And then right above that, there's kind of this valley. It's a little bit darker because there's a shadow. That's row 2. And actually, if we put our finger there, and then flip our work over, look, there are those same bumps, those loops, just like we saw on row 1. So this little valley is what creates that back bump. So we know that this is a row. So here's row 1, here's row 2, here's row 3, bumps again, and then row 4 is our current stitches that are on the top of our work. All right, so for row 5 through 10, we're going to do double crochets. Now to start all of the rows 5 through 10, you must chain 2 before you turn your work. Double crochet is a taller stitch, so we need 2 chains in order for our hook to meet the height of our new row. So chain 2 and turn your work. Now just a reminder how to do double crochets. I'll show you, and if you want an in-depth video, you can watch my video on double crochets. But we're always going to be inserting our hook into the very first stitch, so it's sitting right below our 2 chains. A double crochet starts with a yarn over, insert your hook into your first stitch, yarn over, pull through that stitch. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's 1 stitch, and then we're just going to keep on moving down, inserting your hook under the next stitch. Now, you are going to continue doing double crochets for the next 6 rows, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So once you've done 6 rows of double crochet, this video will be over, and then you can watch part 2, and that will show you how to do the half double crochet rows, how to do the slip stitch row as the finish, which it also includes buttonhole, the button loop. And then part 3 will be constructing the case. So let's just finish this row together, since I was crocheting as I was talking, and I just have a few more to do. If you want to pause the video to catch up, or wait until I get to, pause the video and then come back when I'm at the end and you're at the end, go ahead. Otherwise, I just have 2 more stitches to do. Okie dokie. So here's our first row of double crochets, and you can see them a little bit more clearly than the single crochets. This bar here, standing tall, is a double crochet stitch. So row 5 is done. We are going to keep on trucking, do row 6. Let's just chain 2 together and turn your work from right to left. Just a reminder too about double crochets. It's really tempting to put your hook into the big space between the bars, but that's not where your hook goes. That's a different kind of stitch, but that's not what we're doing here. Your hook goes into the smaller space, really just below that V. In fact, there's even an extra little bar of yarn that tells you this is the hook space. Okay, so yarn over, insert your hook into that first stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over 2, yarn over 2. Okay, I'm going to stop this video here, and we're all going to finish 5 more rows now. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 5 more rows, and then when you're done your 10 rows, go ahead and move on to part 2 of this crochet case video. All right, see you all there.